NFL playoffs, week 20 or so. Yeah, week 20, 2023-24 NFL season. This is Eric Glazer with Greg Roth, and this is your Sharp Squares podcast. Last week, as I indicated, we were going to get hot. Our Sharps were going to get hot. Our Sharps last week in aggregate 68.2% against the spread. Medal games 3-1 in our playoff pool. Greg and I went 5-1. Our Sharps for the season, I'm going to just continue to accumulate their record. Is that the right word? It's definitely not. Here's the cumulative record. I think
we understood.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for covering me. Sharps are 52.9%. Medal games 57.6%. Greg and I'm going to combine our pick 5 record with our playoffs. We're just going to have that roll up. We're at 56.4%. All right. 4 games. You're going to get every single Sharp, who they took, and then for a couple of games, we'll tell you why. We're going to cover that and start covering that in a segment we like calling Gold, Silver, Bronze. And to do that, like he does every week, is everyone's favorite fellow degenerate, the Greg Roth.
Eric, thank you so much. Divisional round. This week, there are no medal games. 0 medal games. Last week, there were 4 medal games out of 6 games. We discussed that was unusual, a heavy load of games for week 1, 4 out of 6, but we thought maybe we're not going to get that many picks for the rest of the season. That's coming true this week. But the algorithm does bubble up some games, and I'm going to give them to you. All these picks, by the way, interestingly enough, were very close together. They were just short of medal status, quite short of medal status, but there are clear picks that the system identified. I'm going to give them to you in order of their rankings. The first pick is the San Francisco 49ers. They're -9.5. They're hosting the recently red-hot Green Bay Packers. Marco D'Angelo, Kelly Stewart, Gil Alexander, Adam Chernoff, and Stuckey all picked the 49ers. However, Cleve TA, Fabian Summer, and the Whale Capper all picked the Packers. The second game, the system picked the Baltimore Ravens. They're -9.5. They're at home, welcoming the Houston Texans to Baltimore. Steve Fezzik, Scott Seidenberg, Gil Alexander, and Adam Chernoff all picked Baltimore. Fabian Summer and Will Capper picked the Texans. Third pick is the Kansas City Chiefs. They're +2.5. They're in Buffalo to take on the Bills. RJ Bell, Steve Fezzik, Tommy the Hitman, Will Capper, and Adam Chernoff, and Cleve TA all picked Kansas City. Will Brinson was the only Sharp to pick Buffalo. Eric, that raises a question. We had 6 Sharps on Kansas City, only 1 on the Bills. Normally, that would be a medal game, but not in this case.
When those podcasts came out, they were making their picks based upon 3. We always adjust when we're getting a different line. Our line's 2.5. You guys know how important that half is. It adjusts the weight of all the people that took the Chiefs, and it increased Will Brinson's weight of his pick when he took the Bills. And that's why, even though the Chiefs are the pick, they do not reach that coveted bronze medal status.
So this could be actionable for the audience because it's quite possible the line goes to 3 over the weekend or before kickoff. This game, I think, is the late game on Sunday, I believe. So maybe at +3, it would have been a medal game. So there's a little side note of advice.
It would definitely have been a medal game.
So maybe an actual medal game, not as far as the show broadcast, but maybe by the kickoff.
Or if you're
the last game,
you could be in a pool. You could be in a pool where you got all 3 and you're all set.
We'll have a tough decision in our pool with the Chiefs +2.5. The last game, the pick, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're +6.5, taking on the Detroit Lions, of course, in Detroit. RJ Bell, Mike Lombardi, Adam Chernoff, and Chris Raybon all picked Tampa Bay. Gil Alexander and the Will Capper picked the Lions. So to summarize, not medal games, but picks from our algorithm, the 49ers, the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Buccaneers. And that's it, Eric.
Well done. You're maybe even, I mean, as great as you are, you could be better without medal. Like you just work harder.
You know, it's just, you trust the process.
All right, folks, if that was all that you were looking for, you are now dismissed. And if you want to stick around, we've got some cool trends that Greg Roth put together for us, curated for us, I should say. And we were going to do some handicapping highlights for 2 of the games.
Eric, first trend. All these first few trends are from Bet Labs. In the past 3 years, Lamar Jackson against the spread as a favorite of 7 or more points is 1-9. 1-9 against the spread. That doesn't bode well. Patrick Mahomes against the spread as an underdog. 8-1-1 ATS for Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. Since 2003, teams off a bye in the divisional round have gone 32-41-1. That's only 44% against the spread. Obviously, that's the Ravens and the 49ers. These 2 trends from Ralph Michaels, the Trends and Angles segment on the Bet On It podcast. Since 2012, playoff teams off a win as an underdog are 12-23 straight up and 21-14 against the spread. That's 61%. Of course, that's Houston, Green Bay, and Tampa Bay this week. Also a play on Houston and Green Bay. According to this trend, playoff teams with playoff games with teams that have scored 35 plus points in their last playoff game are 16-7 against the spread.
Nice. So that's a play on Houston and Green Bay.
It's a play on Houston. Both of those trends are plays on Houston and Green Bay, and the first trend also on Tampa.
From the Dream Preview, Saturday home teams, since the playoffs expanded in 2020, are 10-5 ATS, covering by 6.23 points per game. Also, since 2012, Saturday home teams are 28-17-2 against the spread. And since 2012, Sunday home teams, this is strange, are 29-41-2 against the spread and 9-15 since 2020, losing or not covering by over 2 points.
Those are kind of crazy. I mean, Saturday is it better to be the home team than Sunday? Like, how does that work? I kind of understand. You know, Saturday, it's the beginning of the weekend. You're feeling you're at home. It feels good.
Maybe less time to prepare. I mean, we probably should listen to that show. We will timestamp some of that during our next segment, so you can go right to where they discuss these games. But yeah, fascinating. And finally, Buffalo is 6-1 versus playoff teams this season, covering 5 of those times, only losing once, assuming they pushed on the 7th game, and they've been covering by 7.5 points.
Eric, handicapping highlights. First game, the Ravens -9, hosting the Houston Texans. The theme in this game is very basic, and it's something that affects us. I live in Florida. You live in Massachusetts. Warm weather team going on the road and playing outdoors. Not that complicated. We know Houston, warm weather team, they're going to play in very cold and blustery weather in Baltimore. The handicapping synopsis from Steve Fezzik: weather is going to be a major factor here for an indoor team on the road. He feels like the market never adjusts enough for this factor. From Scott Seidenberg: since 2000 through 2011, at any time, playoffs or regular season, if a dome team plays on the road in sub-20-degree temps, they're 0-8 straight up. In sub-30-degree temps, 3-23 straight up. That's from Scott Seidenberg, Dream Preview. From Adam Chernoff, he thinks there's a massive defensive advantage for Baltimore over Houston's offense. A mix of weather predicted in Baltimore with winds of 15 to 20 miles per hour. In dissent, the Will Cappers, he thinks the Texans' offensive line is playing well, and if they hold up, they will be able to hit some big plays. He notes the Ravens' D is banged up and dealing with injuries in the secondary. He feels the line is too big at -9. Timestamps in this game, Dream Preview, 24 minutes, 14 seconds. RAS, 6 minutes, 18 seconds, beating the book, 38 minutes, 50 seconds. Matchbook, 5 minutes, 35 seconds, forward progress, 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Eric, I know what you were thinking. I said RAS. I know it's Right Angle Sports. I just wanted to clarify that.
I think everyone listening knows that too. And by the way, if there's ever a week to just check out what these guys are saying and use those timestamps, it's this week. Second game we're going to cover for you guys, Chiefs plus 2.5 at Buffalo, where I got married many, many years ago. Themes, you just can't bet against Mahomes getting points in the playoffs. Steve Fezzik, he likes the Kansas City rest advantage. Buffalo has 6 days of rest. Kansas City has 8. RJ Bell says, hey, Buffalo's been upgraded off the 6-game win streak, sure, but by 2 to 2.5 points, and the stats don't necessarily support that big of an upgrade. The Hitman talks about how Gabe Davis, Buffalo's number 2 wide receiver, is probably out. Casey has struggled with number 2 wide receivers, so outside of Diggs, he's ensured that the Bills have a wide receiver threat, even with Kansas City struggling against number 2s. The Whale Capper, Jeff Google's favorite, this game has an 80s old school feel to it. The line should be closer to a pick'em, and the value here is on the Chiefs and the points. Will Brinson from CBS Pick 6 disagrees. He expects a QB duel between two of the NFL's best and the Bills to come out on top. These teams always play close games. Kansas City games have typically started slow with first quarter body blows. Josh Allen runs more in the playoffs, and he should find the end zone with his legs. Timestamps for this. Dream preview, 1 hour, 36 minutes, 33 seconds. Forward progress, 40 minutes, 39 seconds. Matchbook, 46 minutes, 50 seconds. CBS Pick 6, 37 minutes, 30 seconds. Right Angle Sports, 46 minutes, 18 seconds. We'll put the synopsis to some other games in the Discord channel for everyone who's a member. If you want to check out the Discord channel, if you've never been a member, you want to see what it's like to be a member, you could hit me up on Twitter with a DM or just email me, eglazer@novig.com, and I'll hook you up with some sort of sweet deal for the playoffs. All righty, folks, you got all the information. Do with it as you may, and just remember, none of us are truly sharp. But this is your Sharp Squares podcast.
Good luck out there.